Welcome to the June 17th meeting, July 17th meeting of the Bessemer Planning and Zoning Commission. We have 4 items on the agenda today. 2 deal with rezoning and the others deal with resurveys. So I just need to let those of you who are here on behalf of a rezoning application to know that this is a recommending body. So whatever decision this body comes up with today will be forwarded to the city council, who will make the final determination about the rezoning. That will be at the next meeting next month, and you'll get a notice about that. But it would be when council. And that will be morning. He thinks it will be August 14th, but you get a notice of it. The next one is submitted by Joseph A. Miller for AU Properties, LLC. The property at Westlake Mall. Okay.
My name is Joseph Miller, 2217 10th Court South, Birmingham, Alabama. I'm a civil engineer and land survey representing Millennium Technologies Environment Cook. That's Mr. Cook in the back.
In the back, I see 3 million in the back.
Well,
Mr. Cook.
He's in the plaid shirt.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Mr. Cook. All right. Go ahead.
And what we like to do is redevelop the old Westlake Mall property. And I'll give you an overview. What our vision is. This is 14th Street right here. Here's Bessemer Superhighway, right through there. What we'd like to do is have a life celebration center, which is basically, it'll have three chapels and a mausoleum, columbariums inside, and then we're going to extensively landscape the outside, have more landscaping around the building, and that will be basically about half the project would be that.
I'm sorry. Did you say 14th Street or did you mean 14th Avenue?
14th Avenue. I mean, it's a street, but I'm in Avenue.
Oh,
you know what I mean. Sorry.
Well, I didn't know everybody.
No, I misspoke. I'm sorry. And that would be this half of the property. The rest, this is Bessemer Alabama would decide to call it Alabama Cultural Heritage, and this would be meeting rooms. It would have a restaurant. We would have some. A part of it would be converted to apartments, and this also will be extensively landscaped. Part of this property is in the floodplain and floodway, and we wouldn't do any development there at all. We would close off. There's an existing driveway from a residential neighborhood. We close that off. There's another driveway that comes in from the residential neighborhood to our east. Part of the problem is we would like to close that off. We'd have to work with the out parcel because part of that driveway is not on our property. It's actually on a part of the out parcel property. It cuts through both our property and the out parcel property. So we can't guarantee we can close that off. We would like to. We would still have to work with the adjacent property on it. We anticipate a significant amount of employment for this, and right now the property is pretty much not being used at all. There's trucks being parked on the back side, on the 14th Avenue side, and that's about it. They're using this just truck storage area right now, and none of the, as far as I know, none of the other shops are open.
Excuse me.
So that's what we would like to do. I'd like to answer any questions you want to have.
I thought I read something about you taking a part of what used to be the supermarket.
Well, the supermarket's in the front, that's right. That's what would be the cultural center, which would be meeting rooms, and we would have a restaurant in it, and also part of the old mall would be, turned into apartments.
Okay, so all the gray area out there that
Well, that's the parking. That's the existing parking lot.
Parking?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
okay.
That's existing parking. The gray's the parking. The yellow will be the life celebration. The brown will be the cultural center.
Can I see something about a mausoleum?
Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm saying. This life celebration center will be a mausoleum and a columbarium and 3 chapels for funerals.
Wow. Okay. So that would take up the complete area of what is now considered the Westlake Mall.
Yes, ma'am. We would redevelop the buildings, both these uses. That's why we, after meeting with Mr. Harmon, we decided that MXD would be the best zoning that we could do what we would like to do. That's not our correct comment. We would be able to fit into that zoning classification doing these things.
Is the AU properties owned by Mr. Underwood?
Yes. That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Any questions of Mr. Miller? Excuse us, we are in advance questions. We haven't had a chance to look through all this.
That's fine. I don't have anything else to do the rest of the afternoon, so I'm here all long as you need me.
So, Mr. Miller, are you developing, are you planning on purchasing it, or what exactly is it going to remain in the current owner's hands? The property?
No, sir, I'm purchasing.
You're purchasing?
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind, Mr. Councilman, what are the prescribed uses of the mixed use development? And what is the current zoning for that property?
It's currently C1, I believe, it's used.
It's currently SC1.
Or SC1, I'm sorry.
Shopping center.
Thanks. Give these to you instead of.
Yeah, did you mention the housing development?
Yes, ma'am. Well, that's what I said. We're doing some apartments in there too.
Oh, I don't know how I missed that, but I
Okay,
guess
sorry,
I
I may have gone too fast. Be nice if we get a little bit in advance next time.
Okay, today, I think the information has been submitted for a rezoning consideration. If the zoning board and the city council agrees with the rezoning, they would have to come back for a development plan approval.
Yes. I mean, this is our.
This is conceptual.
Yes, conceptual schematic. This isn't design drawings.
They would have to come back and bring the development plans back to this board for approval and back to the city council for approval before they could move on to any kind of development. So this is the first step, which is zoning consideration.
We don't get zoning. It's really.
What's the projected end date for construction?
We're looking at somewhere right at the first of the year we start construction involved, we can meet all the approvals.
And then you have an idea how long it would take to complete the project?
It's probably 12 to 18 months.
That's a lot to do in 12 to 18 months.
Well, it is.
But, yeah. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I do. So I just want to do a recap of this. So presently it is zoned for a I2, correct? I2A.
Yes. SC1. Shopping center district.
Okay, SC1. And I think that I saw that on the paperwork. Okay.
Present use it is labeled I2A.
Yeah, on the application. That's where I saw that.
Yeah.
So you want to go from that to a mixed use, and within that you're going to have a living quarters. About how many condos or how many?
50 units.
50 units. Those are going to be for sale or for rent?
They'd be for rent.
For rent.
It'd be pretty small, won't it?
Very small.
We're looking at 1,400 square feet.
Okay, you're going to have a funeral home there, which is...
No, sir, it will not be a funeral home. It's going to be strictly a mausoleum, which falls under the cemetery zoning plan. We do no funerals.
Okay.
Now, we do have chapels for services, but we are not a mortuarial service.
Okay.
Just had a question. I don't know if you heard that question, okay? You want to know the difference between a service and a funeral.
Well, he's talking about that there wouldn't be any.
I thought you were.
We do not do any embalming or anything like that, but we do have the chapels available if someone wanted to use them. Either a church or a local funeral home decide they want to use the facility for maybe a larger service, we'd be able to accommodate them.
I see. So how large do you expect yours to be?
In size in the chapels, you mean?
Right. Then you said 3 chapels.
Would be flex walls. We'd be able to seat anywhere from 100 to 400 people.
I see. So if the funeral home doesn't have.
But it's not a
space,
funeral home, okay?
No, but I say if a funeral home
Would like to use the
space, would they
facility,
ask?
that's right, it would be available, that's
I
right.
see.
But we're just a mausoleum, columbarium for, which is the way a lot of big cities are going in the future. There's no room for cemeteries any longer. Once cemeteries are, in metropolitan areas, there's just no opportunity to do a big cemetery development anymore.
Okay, so we're looking at 3 chapels, a restaurant, living quarters, and a mausoleum.
That's right, and the event center, which is on the Bruno's building, where the old Bruno's Food World was. We're going to be able to seat about 1,500 people in there for gospel concerts and those type of things.
It's quite a dream.
It is. It's quite an endeavor. We think it's going to be a real asset to the Bessemer area, and the entire Birmingham area.
Can we have it, I guess in the interest of us having so many people here, can we have someone read what the mixed use is, what is allowed under mixed use development as it's outlined here?
Sure, I'll agree for you.
Yeah, just generally.
If I may,
Go ahead.
the mixed use would be restricted to what was approved in the development plan. There are a lot of different things that can go into a mixed use, but the next phase would identify that, and what they're requesting is apartments, event center, just what all they have listed. So it would be restricted to those uses that were approved in the development plan.
This is the general the spirit of it. Provide for a compatible and complementary mixture of residential, office, commercial, cultural, institutional, governmental, and industrial uses. The purpose of this section is 1, to encourage flexible, creative, and imaginative approaches to a range of urban development opportunities. 2, to provide flexible and creative solutions to transportation and parking problems, public or private, motorized, and pedestrian. 3, to promote citizen interaction and a sense of community. 4, to provide opportunities for affordable housing. 5, to provide economic, convenient, and efficient provisions of sufficient public services. 6, to ensure the provision of public spaces and activities. 7, to preserve significant natural features of the land. And 8, to develop in a manner complementary with other land in the vicinity. And as Ron said, it's all going to go to the conceptual plan that they will have to submit at a later date.
I notice here it says the mausoleum entrance will be off 14th Street. That's supposed to be 14th Avenue?
Yes, ma'am.
14th Avenue, yes, ma'am, sorry.
Are there any other questions?
And I guess its current use is what again? The current use of the property, shopping center, and what's going on there now?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I see where
I
the,
heard him mention the possibility of some truck parking.
Well,
or
yes,
something.
no, there's some trucks being parked there now, as I said.
Okay. And is that something that is allowed under the current zoning for that property?
That is not an approved use in this C1, no.
Okay, all right.
who approved that?
One.
You just do what you want to do.
What do you assume the owner did? Well, I will say that we have nothing to do with that.
I understand. I understand, but do people understand that they don't really arbitrarily make these decisions? I assume that they approved it.
I have a question. How large is this mausoleum going to be? Approximately how many bodies are we talking about?
You're looking at about 6,800. It's a We're looking for the next, we're looking there maybe for the next 75 years of being able to accommodate entombment.
You said,
We're planning on building 42 of these around the country. Bessemer just happens to be the first. Then we're excited about that and looking forward to it. We've got plans for Atlanta right now, Dallas and Houston and Memphis, Tennessee, all within the next year.
so you're saying you're looking to accommodate 600 to 800 bodies?
Yes, ma'am. Most cemeteries will, take care of 75 to 100,000.
Would you repeat that?
I said, most large cemeteries, like the one over adjoining this property, I'm sure there's probably 75,000, burials over there, I would
Cedar
think.
Hill.
Pardon me? Yes,
Cedar
ma'am.
Hill.
Mhm.
You know how large that property is?
Pardon me?
You know how large that property is?
No, ma'am, I have
It's a
no
lot
idea.
bigger than the Westlake Mall property.
Yeah, it's,
You all can't hear Mr. Cook. Do you need him to go to the mic?
Yes, if she's asking questions.
Oh.
I think it would be appropriate since he is answering some of the questions that the
I
board.
would love to have the opportunity.
Okay, come on to the mic.
Sure.
So let me do the math here. 6,800 bodies. How many, how many?
We're just looking at 50 apartments right now, and we don't know if that would take place or not, okay? We know of two things that will take place if we can get the mixed use zone. Number one is the Life Celebration Mausoleum Complex, okay?
That's the main entrance.
That's off of 14th Avenue, okay? And if you notice from the plan, we're eliminating a lot of existing parking on this area and turning that into some very nice gardens and landscaping. We've even applied for a permit to be able to, if we're approved, to apply for a permit to build about a 2-acre lake out there. Just a beautiful lake landscape this area. We want to, it's going to be an asset to the whole Birmingham area and Bessemer area if we're able to do what we'd like to do. Needless to say, as you know, what's happening with malls nowadays, I think the estimate is there's going to be over 2,000 vacant malls over the next 10 years. And there's people are going away from brick and mortar. We understand that. So there's going to be very limited use. A lot of them are in decay all over the country now. We hope, just due to the location of this one, and we would just like to convert this into our first unit. Okay, once again, we're looking at building 42 probably over the next 5 years. We have the funding and everything is in place to do it. On the backside, what we call is going to be called the Alabama Cultural Heritage Event Center. That's taking the old Bruno's or Food World, turning it into a very nice convention type center with seating and just a place that you can have very nice cultural events there. Okay, specializing in a lot of gospel and church music events. Okay, we'll also have a nice restaurant there, sit-down restaurant. We'll also have catering or a kitchen for the individuals that do come there. Okay, then we're going to have some additional rooms that will be meeting rooms, and we hope to maybe have 8 to 10 retail accommodations that might go with that in some capacity. We don't know as of yet.
Y'all do know how big that area is, right?
Yes, ma'am. I've been in the development business over 50 years. Okay,
You all have-
hotels, apartments, all kinds. I've built over 3,000 homes, developed over 10 subdivisions in the Pensacola, Northwest Florida area.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this proposed lake going to be in the flood area of the mall?
Well, it will be, I'm going to let Mr. Miller address that.
It would be in the floodplain, would be in the floodway, and we would have to get all approval. One of the things we have to do first is just do a wetland study, make sure, it'd be where the existing drainage creek runs. We'd have to make sure, this is conceptual, and we have to get all the required permits and work with Ron and city engineer and Corps engineers and get all the proper approvals. Assuming we could do all that, then we build a lake. But if we can't do all that, then obviously we couldn't build a lake.
Right. I understand why most of this is conceptual.
Well, I mean,
I
you gotta start
understand.
somewhere.
I understand. A beautiful concept, though, I have to agree with that. Okay, do we have any other questions?
I guess I do.
Mr. Miller or Mr. Cook?
I guess I do. Entrance, you're looking at what, 14th Avenue entrance, and you're looking at what other entrances to the
Well,
property?
what the idea would be is you have one entrance. Currently, get my bearings straight here. Currently, there's two driveways coming off 14th.
Right.
We realign this and have one driveway to serve, and then we would have a gate here, and this would be a construction entrance, and this wouldn't be for the general motoring public. The other entrance, it would be just for service entrance for the staff and you know, any vehicles that are coming in and out, but it wouldn't be open to the general public. And then we'd have the same driveway coming off. We'd use the same driveway coming off of Bessemer Superhighway that's there now. There's an existing driveway here coming out of the residential neighborhood. We can close that completely. And like I said, if we could work with this adjacent property owner and close off the other one, we would. But if he wasn't amenable to it, we wouldn't be able to, because part of the driveway's on his property. We really can't close the driveway on somebody else's property. But anyway, that's the intent of what we're
And then I think there's another one right off of, what is that, Cedar Hill Drive?
Oh, this,
Yes,
yes,
right.
now that would remain open also, I'm
Okay.
sorry, you're correct.
Okay, so there's 3 points, I think. And I guess this is for the engineer. This area floodway wise, floodplain wise, I mean, is it the entire area, or is that going to be an issue? Or?
Well, I mean, we'd have to meet all the regulations. Some of the parking lot is in the floodplain, and some of it is near the floodway. We would just have to. There are ways to flood-proof buildings, like you would have the plugs for the electrical sockets would have to be, above the flood elevation. You would have, you would have your floors would be something that if you got it wet, it wouldn't completely, take forever to dry it out. I mean, because some of these flood elevations were established after the mall was built.
Mm-hmm.
The mall was built in the 60s, and the floodplain program didn't come out until the late 70s, is when they first started. I'm not sure when Bessemer got started, but it was had to be sometime around there. So,
according to the most recent FEMA studies, the mall itself, the building is not in the 100-year flood zone. The parking lot is. A good portion of the parking lot is. They couldn't develop anything really outside on the creek side without having to go through the flood prevention ordinance to do so.
and our intent really is to, by the time we got through, we would have a whole lot more landscaped area and a whole lot less asphalt than we would, so we would not be contributing. We would actually be mitigating the water coming off our site. As from today to the time we were finished, we would probably cut maybe 10–15% of the water off the site just by having it landscaped and a pond there.
I have one question. The building that we're speaking in reference to now is the Westlake Mall. There is also another building there that sits on the campus there, the old First Alabama Bank building. I'm quite sure that will come as a package deal.
Yes.
What would you perhaps do with that particular building?
Look, just maybe some kind of office. We haven't really given a lot of consideration, but we'll probably be renovated in some kind of office, or even if it might even have to be removed. We don't know at this time.
I'm curious as well, and maybe this isn't a relevant question to this particular meeting, but in terms of marketing studies, Mr. Cook, have you done one? And if so, what have they revealed in terms of this type of property, type of facility?
Well, we have had our own marketing study done. It was for a national basis, based upon two things. Number one was the need for burial sites for the next 100 years, okay? And I can give you some supported documentation that I brought with me for that, okay? If you'd like to have it, I'll be more than glad to.
Just curious, but none specifically for this particular property. It's just a national
That's
study in terms
exactly
of
right.
marketing
Yes, sir.
for this type of facility.
In the event center, we just, we're just, know it's gonna work. We've already got scheduled, we've got some, even a production company that's gonna handle the events for us for next year, starting in late, mid 2019.
And have you, I guess, done any marketing in terms of the event center itself, in terms of the
No,
area?
we've not done anything. We're waiting to get this done, and then we're ready to move forward. But we have the funding and everything to do it. We have the promotion companies in place and so forth to do that.
Build it, they will come model.
Build it, and they will come. Yes, sir. I might add that all those things that we'll be doing, we should be bringing people from out of town. Also, there's going to be considerable tax base increase there from what the mall is at present. So and the general revenues that it brings to the area.
How many employees, I guess, are we looking at in terms
We
of the
think
area?
of possibly overall anywhere from 120 to 175 is what we're, some part-time, some full-time.
Broken down in terms of how many do you anticipate being in the mausoleum? How many?
Mausoleum, very, very limited numbers, okay? And most of those numbers are going to be for the restaurants and for the event center.
Okay, any other questions? If there are no other questions, is there anybody here who is opposed? All right, would you come forward, tell us who you are and the nature of your opposition?
It's not so much that we're opposed. I'm representing my neighbors also, one who had a heart attack and the other one in the emergency room with her sister broken ankle. My name is Patricia Duran Toyez. I live at 1014 9th Street North. My property backs right up to the mall property near the bank, the old bank.
Spell your last name, did you get it?
D-U-R-O-N hyphen Tellez, T-E-L-L-E-Z.
You get that? Okay, all right, thank you.
The last year and a half on our side of our neighborhood has been miserable because of all the noise, the beeping, the dropping of those big trucks. It's no longer a peaceful neighborhood at all. Our neighborhood consists mostly of older people. It's been quiet, and it's just been miserable. We're afraid that the same thing is going to happen here.
It's a different kind of noise.
Yes, and a different, more traffic coming through the neighborhood. We've had trucks for a year and a half coming through, tearing down the power lines, the cable lines, the telephone lines, the big semi trucks coming down 9th Street from the entrance from 9th Street into the mall parking lot.
Did you all ever enter any of these concerns to the city council?
The mayor's office.
You did?
Yes, and the mayor's office responded wonderfully. We're pleased with that. Didn't do any good. Mr. Underwood, when he was notified that his use was illegal, said that it was politically motivated and continued for another 6 months with his illegal use after notification.
When you say use, you're referring to the parking of those trucks?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
an industrial use. It
Yeah.
has to be zoned industrial. I was a real estate appraiser for 28 years. So I just knew when he started parking those there that that's an illegal use. We hadn't been notified by the zoning department of any zoning change.
Nor had we.
So, but that is our fear, that our peaceful neighborhood will continue to not be peaceful as it has in the past. That I have some questions from my neighbors.
Okay, let me ask you a question before you move forward. Were you living there, and with these neighbors you're talking about living there when it was a bustling mall?
Well, I know that they've been living there at least 25 years. So I don't remember, I used to go shopping at that mall, but I didn't live in the neighborhood. But we would go shopping there when it was a bustling mall. So I don't remember when that all ended particularly, I'm sorry.
Did you ever hear any concerns about the noise when it was a bustling mall?
I think one of the issues of this tillage, right, has is not so much, now mall hours are generally restricted, so you're going to get traffic right up until about 9 o'clock. And I think your concern is you guys were hearing the truck traffic all time.
All day, even on Easter Sunday. They were back there beeping and dropping stuff. Yes.
And I concur with her on that. I think by it being a mall, there's a different type of noise that would be coming from a mall. More so the sliding of the racks hanging on the clotheslines or something like that. But in reference to this, what they're trying to project to us, an event center will be conducive of having loud concerts, and they're so close to that, they will hear that noise.
And just the crowds that would come out from the parking lot. I mean, we're literally probably 30 feet, 40 feet from the edge of the parking lot. And we've had, I don't know that it had anything to do with the trucks being there, but the crime in our little neighborhood. My neighbor across catty corner from me got pistol whipped in his own garage. My neighbor next to me had a fugitive. The police were chasing him. He hid in the crawl space of her house so that the police could not find him. And when he left them a note saying, "Thank you for helping me get away, the use of your crawl space." So,
you think the trucks and all had anything to do with that?
We didn't have anything like that before. Nobody that I know of in our immediate neighborhood ever been pistol whipped or fugitives hiding in their houses.
I bet there are a lot of things that happen these days that never happened before.
Well,
it's okay.
I guess along those lines, maybe Mr. Cook, you can speak to this, or your engineer, Mr. Miller. How many parking spaces are you anticipating at this facility? And I guess what would be the maximum capacity you're looking at in terms of the event center?
Right now, the way we've got it calculated, it'd be about 825. There are much more than 825 parking spaces out there. Wow. We're not even showing parking on the backside. Mm-hmm. And again, our intent is not to use the residential neighborhood for anything. Right. And close it off and landscape the entire property. Anyway, there's significantly more than 825 parking spaces out there currently, because we're doing away with about 2 acres of parking here, and we're not parking anywhere on the backside. And
now there's no backside backs up to her neighborhood, right?
My house is right here.
There would be no parking on that part right there. We wouldn't use that for parking. Mm-hmm. The parking would be in the front and on this side right here. Mm-hmm. Where there's a creek that runs down through there, and this is a cemetery across the creek.
I mean, but you would have some parking, as he said, that's where the old bank building was. If you did use that and convert those to offices, there may be some limited parking there.
Yeah. Is that red block the old bank building?
It is. Yeah.
But in terms of your event center and your, I guess, restaurant, you're looking general hours are closed.
In the front and on the west side of the property. The residential is east of our property.
one of the questions that one of my neighbors had was, for years, they walked around that mall property, walkers.
Yeah, I did.
And Mr., you do it too.
I did. Big fast ones.
Yeah, well, me too. Would this area be open for the neighborhood to walk around this beautifully landscaped property?
I would sure think so. I would think anything adverse about it.
Is that a no?
It's gonna be a beautiful place, we hope. I mean, that's the plan.
Also, we would like to
Did that
know.
answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, he's saying
Okay.
yes, it would be okay. Or that's my
That's it,
understanding.
yes, ma'am.
What are the apartments going to be rented for? What's the anticipated rental?
The
We
rates,
spoke to that a few minutes ago. didn't we?
I mean,
Well, we talked about the size, we didn't talk about what the apartments would be rented for.
well, it would not be low-income housing, let me just say that. You know, it would be market rate apartments.
I guess, and I guess your question is their targeted demographic in terms of, is that it? I mean, is it gonna be, are you marketing towards
Yeah,
seniors?
well, it's gonna be market rate apartments, you know, for people employed, need to say, folks that are employed and can afford that type of complex. You know. We're sure not gonna put a low-income facility right in the middle of our major investment.
Well, you know, Liddy, it'll be the same ones that can afford those $70 tickets that are printed in the,
That's right.
brochure, right?
That's correct.
Sure, they're gonna have.
So that rules me
outside
out.
of those apartments coming to the.
Does it rule you out?
Go ahead with your question.
Well, those are our concerns. Basically, the noise. We've had enough noise for a year and a half.
What would you all like to see come into that area?
I don't think we would want an event center. Music, concerts, 800
Anything
people.
quiet, you saying?
Something quiet would be fine, would be preferred. I mean, it's not like we can pick up and move away from it.
Maybe you'd like to get one of those cars.
My house is paid for.
I got you, yeah. Okay,
Yes, that's our concern.
all right. Did you get answers to all your concerns?
Yes, ma'am, I
Okay.
did. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any other question that anybody wants to propose to either Mr. Cook or Mr. Miller?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Could I make one more comment, please?
you can.
Sure.
And then I want to know if anybody else has any objections.
By the
You'd
way,
like to speak?
I'd like to give, I think she had requested something on the, regarding the need for mausoleums and cemeteries. I think that might, right there.
Maybe you should read it before the council meeting.
Let me first say that we've looked at a lot of abandoned malls around the country already and have got to commend Mr. Underwood for maintaining the property as well as he had. You know, I think it's been vacant since 2006 or 7, something like that.
You say it's been maintained?
Well, I mean, we've been inside of it and it's been very well maintained on the inside, okay? The parking lots is going to have some work done due to the big trucks and so forth that's been out there, but the structure in itself has been very well maintained, you know, for something that's not bringing any income to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, I think it's going to be of the kind of situation where you can't just make a park out of the place. It's not going, you know, but we hope to add something of very nice to the area that I believe that all these individuals that are here would be very pleased to have within their area. It's sure not going to be a decaying mall for the next 10 or 15 years, you know. And so just hope that you will, like I say, entertain the changing of the zoning. And then once again, as the gentleman said, we've got to go through the whole development process of showing what we're going to do.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Yes, I do have one more
Okay.
question. And I have to do this because I have to look out for the citizens.
Sure.
Yes, sir. So my main question is, as the citizens, her main concern was the amount of noise by it being a event center.
Well, it's going to be inside.
Yeah, it is, yeah, I'm quite sure it's going to be inside, but is it going to be soundproof? By the building being so antiquated, how do you?
Well, we're completely, so we're planning on spending at least $2 million on that facility on that end, and so we've got to bring it up to the codes, and I mean, it's just not, we're not just going to throw a coat of paint on the outside of the place and the inside. That as you can tell, I mean, this is the look that we want to give it on the outside right there, and it's going to be have to equally as be done as nicely on the inside.
Very attractive.
I mean, we were hired architects, structural engineers, mechanical engineers to bring the thing up to code and make it as attractive as we want it to be an asset to the community.
Appreciate your interest in
And,
that. I was gonna ask if anybody else has any objection to it.
You can do it.
Anybody want to speak in favor? Oh, you want to say something?
Come to the
Like, tell us who you are, what your address is.
My name is Appleberg. I live at 3000 Fairfax Avenue. I was just thinking, she was talking about the noise. If you could put a wall between her neighborhood and the event center or wherever, the both of the noise, you know, like they have on the interstate, a wall to keep the noise from her neighborhood.
You think so?
Well,
Something to buffer the noise. That's what I was thinking.
Insulation. Okay, you want to come forward and tell us who you are and give us your question or your concern?
Hi, my name is Vicki Boland. I live at 1025 Westlake Boulevard. I also own 1116 Westlake Boulevard and 1000 Westlake Mall. And I'm hearing something about mausoleum. When they said mixed use, I had no idea they were talking about mausoleum. Now, I do have an objection to that. Everything else seems fine, but to put a mausoleum in the mall just don't seem right to me. So, that's, you know, just something I want to point out. And then as far as on Buffer Wall, the neighborhood that we live in, we want something beautiful. We don't want a wall to block us out. You know, it's got to be a beautiful landscape, and we just don't want something that blocks us out from a beautiful view. The mall is not beautiful now, but to put a wall up, that's not going to work. That's just, you know, how I feel about it.
Okay. And your objection to the mausoleum is because the folks in there would be dead?
No, you don't want people dead in mausoleums, but that's not my objection. My objection is, on down the years, I've heard the mausoleum have leakage and things, problems like that. On down the line, years from now, just like I can't think of the name, the mound that they recently got rid of because it was not kept up properly. What about on down the line when we have leakage from dead bodies and the place is not maintained correctly? You know, things of that nature. It worries me. And I don't want a mausoleum right in my neighborhood. And I do own property down by the mall on the lot, on the corner lot. I don't want that.
Think that might also be a concern for people who want an apartment inside there?
I don't want to live in no mausoleum.
Mr. Morgan, that's my question. Who
Please
actually?
repeat that.
Jefferson County Health Department has jurisdiction over anything that she's alleging may happen in the future hospital.
So they have regulations over mausoleums and
Oh,
the
they
health
do.
department.
That's good enough. Wait a minute. Okay, you want to come back and say something?
yes, I'm sorry. I forgot a major. How about alcohol sales in these restaurants and at this event center? Will there be alcohol sales?
I don't think we've got that far yet, but you want to talk about that?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sure, and especially in the fine dining restaurant, we plan on having what's called the executive club, and there will be, at least we've got to apply for a permit, you know, but we're talking about the dining facility is gonna be, you know, $40 a meal type of,
And they wanna have a drink.
that's right, yes,
And just to kind of, just one more question for me. I know I've asked a lot of them, but in terms of the timeline, you're looking to start in.
Well, we'd love to start after the first of the year, at least with some kind of construction. We think it's going to take plans, just getting plans and everything approved in the development plans.
Which would have to
be
come
the
back
next
to
6
us.
months. Yes, we're going to be coming back.
Now, I guess this question is for the engineer and the attorney. If, say, we approve or we recommend the approval of this mixed-use development, it then goes to the city council, at what point does this actually become, and the city council approves mixed-use development, at what point does this become zoned as a mixed-use development? Will it have to wait until January, or will it be immediately after the
If the
council
city
vote?
council approves it, it'll be rezoned that way, and it will be that way no matter what. Even if they were to back out later on, it will be rezoned mixed use until someone else comes and reapplies. It's not contingent upon anything, but they will have to come back and submit their development plan, their site plan, everything they're going to want to do for approval later. None of that is considered today. Today is just considered if what they have proposed, the mixed uses, sits in the best interest of the city in this location.
Okay, and I guess one of whatever is allowable under mixed use, once it is approved by the city council, becomes allowable under this, the new zoning.
Yes.
Okay, so that would,
Correct, but wouldn't we be just limited to what we've applied for, not everything in the mixed use? We'd have to come back before you if we change something?
You have to reapply.
Yeah, we'd have to reapply.
Okay.
Yeah, so we couldn't come back and say 6 months from now, we want to add this in because it's in the mixed
Right.
use. It would be what we specifically asked for today.
Right.
And that would have to come back with development plans once the city council's approved it, or what's specifically been approved. And then that would be all we could do. Well, we could always come back and ask for more, but we couldn't do anything beyond what we are today. That's what I'm trying to say.
Any other questions? Okay. So here's a hand, come forward. Just in case there are people who don't know you, tell us who you are.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I tried to sit quietly, but I just couldn't.
Okay.
I'm Mary Ann Harron, and I live at 819 Canterbury Drive, Bessemer, Alabama, which is right up the street from Westlake Mall. I'm vehemently opposed to a mausoleum in our area. Now, I might could see or event center with some apartments in the building or something like that. But who's gonna go do fine dining with 68 dead people in the building? I'm just being realistic. Who's gonna rent the apartments to stay in a building where right down the street you got 6,800 dead people? I wouldn't. I'll never go there and eat. And people that I know is not going in there and eat. And I could see maybe if you had an event center with fine dining and apartment buildings, minus a mausoleum, that might work. But I would just be opposed to a mausoleum in our neighborhood. And I'd like to know if you had looked in some of the other areas, maybe like Hoover or Vestavia or somewhere like that, to put a mausoleum in the middle of their city. You know, I'm just opposed to it. I just don't think it's right, and I just had to say it. Because I'm a citizen that lives right up the street, and I have to pass it every day to come to work, and I just don't like that.
All right. Come on forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Garrett. I live at 23 Royal Coach Circle and have been here an awful long time. I just think that this idea, concept that we're listening to today is a tremendous one. We all that live here in Bessemer, we experience so many negative things all the time. Our schools and all kinds of other things. I won't get into it. But I think this would just be such a positive for Bessemer, along with the things that Amazon is getting ready to do in our community. I think this would just add to that. When we look at the employees that they're going to bring, maybe those management people are going to be the ones that rent these properties, the apartments that they're talking about. And lastly, I'd like to say that, you know, being concerned about a mausoleum in the area where we eat, the cemetery right across the street never stopped anybody from shopping at Westlake Mall. Thank you.
I guess one more question. Mr. Cook, you said this is the first of its kind in the this will be the first one that you want to build in the United States. Are there any other places in the United States where this concept has been tried, and if so, what were the results?
No, sir. It's our concept, and we just believe it's going to work. First of all, there will be, the two properties will be separated. It's not going to be like you're down in the event center and all of a sudden you want to walk down to the mausoleum. It's not like that. We've got it separated as two different parcels of property. Okay. Once again, as the gentleman said, right, adjoining property is a cemetery. You know, everybody drives right by it every day anyway. This would just be basically, it could be built right over there on the cemetery property if we own that cemetery property, okay? But we don't. If we annexed it or just purchased adjoining to the, I mean, that's basically all we're doing. It's the same thing that could very, very easily be put right over on the city cemetery.
But in terms of this concept, it hasn't been, because I
that's
know one thing that you gave us.
Just add for relationship to the comment there about maintenance and those kind of things. It's a state requirement. If you have a mausoleum, 7.5% of every dollar that is purchased in one has to go into a trust fund called a perpetual care trust fund. We've already set up with the Regions Bank here locally to be handling that trust fund for us. That's set aside that we do not touch for the maintenance of this facility for the next 1,000 years. Most cemeteries do not have anything like that. The state of Alabama does have a new requirement that came in a number of years ago. If you do develop a mausoleum, you have to have a trust fund that's set up for the maintenance and the care of that facility. So we're already, that'd be one of the things that we have to address with the state of Alabama to get that approval also.
We didn't have that.
Most little church cemeteries or little private cemeteries have no maintenance. That's the reason why people have to get out and get a group together and go cut the grass. This will have a 7.5% perpetual care fund that will go in that fund at the Regions Bank to maintain it for the next 1,000 years or whenever.
Okay, come forward to the mic.
My name is Larry Albright. I run Art Memorial that's adjacent to the property. And those of you who've been here around Bessemer as long as I have, I started Art Memorial with my father in 1958. That's how long I've been out there. Okay, I saw the mall built and I saw the mall go, as many of you have. The reason that we think is because there was never a ramp coming off of the freeway. And I'm just wondering if this happens, and is there a possibility that there could be a ramp there on the highway? I mean, that would have to be done through the state. I'm just wondering if you studied this proposal to find out the possibility of a ramp coming off of the freeway to that facility. That's what happened before. I mean, I'm not kicking it. I mean, I'm not saying anything else. I think it'd be an asset if this was to happen. It might be the possibility we would get that ramp that we need.
I hear you. Thank you.
Thank you,
ma'am. You know, when Westlake Mall was built, that entrance to the interstate Adventure Parkway wasn't there either. That came about well after that mall was built.
Well, there's a 4-lane highway going to it, and it stopped at the back of Cedar Hill Cemetery. I don't know why, but there was a proposal to bring it all the way back into the mall property.
Three entrances to the freeway from Bessemer. I don't know if state of approval for it, but I'm not even on the state board to approve those. Okay, any other questions or concerns? Come on, come forward.
I've already introduced myself.
You better
Again,
remind us.
again, I have 3 properties, and I live in Westlake Highlands. I'm also concerned about traffic, increasing crime. And I want to know, will there be a, like a police substation located inside of this property? I want to know what they're going to do about the neighborhoods, you know, that's directly, because like I said, I live in Westlake Highlands. That's right there at Westlake Mall. So, increase in crime, increase in traffic, those are my concerns.
And what aspect of this do you think would bring the influx of crime?
Apartments, being right there at the neighborhood. We don't have any apartments right there where we are. Apartments are about 5 miles from where we live. So you have a lot of residents in apartments. Right now, we're just houses. We're single family homes are there right now. So, you know, I have concerns into turning mixed use and having apartments there. That's a concern. Well, now my property value is going to go down because of our apartments being there.
Oh, really?
So I have concerns about that too. And crime and increased traffic.
Now, he did clarify that it wouldn't be low rent apartments.
It doesn't matter. Increased traffic is also a problem that I'm thinking about.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other concerns or any other questions anybody has of Mr. Miller or Mr. Cook? I suppose then that ends the opposition to the application. And nobody else wants to speak in favor of it? Okay. Then the chair will entertain a motion to deal with the item.
Madam Chair,
Councilor Porter.
I would like to make a motion that we deny this request for rezoning to mixed use at 904 Westlake Mall here in Bessemer, here in the Marble City of Bessemer, Alabama.
There being no second, that motion dies. Does anybody want to make another motion?
Yeah, they were waiting for you to call.
We were waiting on you to call.
I don't have to call for a second. Oh, you, okay, yeah. He didn't, he thought I was. Is there anybody who would like to offer a second to that motion?
I'll make a second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve of, that we deny this application for rezoning of the Westlake Mall property for the proposed use, for the mixed use. You've heard that motion. Is there any discussion?
I guess if anything, I guess I'm kind of qualified. What our vote is that I'd like to see a little bit more research. I heard that there hasn't been any market analysis done on this. I do have some concerns about that. Some of the issues in terms of parking, I understand you're looking at a certain number of hours as opposed to, I guess, an overnight use or something along those lines. But I would definitely like to say I'd like to see some more study done of the concept. I did not hear that there was a market analysis done. So is there really even a need for it in this particular area? And I'd like to see that. So that's, again, these are recommendations that this body is sending to the city council. But I think, Mr. Cook, we'd like to see some, as speaking, I guess, hearing some of the opposition to it. If we could see some market analysis, you know, there's a good chance it could succeed or fail, I think, is something that definitely needs to be done.
And Madam Chair, I concur with Mr. Nars. I would like more public input on this by the project being so big. I had to listen to the voice of my citizens that, you know, on one hand they wanted an event center, and then on the other hand they did not want the mausoleum there. So I have to be the voice for the community.
Is there any other discussion on the motion to deny the application? Well, that part of the discussion is over. It is now, it is now in the hands.
Could I ask one question? So, let's just
I'm
assume.
sorry, excuse me, Mr. Cook. We're now in the middle of the
Oh, I'm sorry.
motion.
Okay.
And now that we've finished the actual part where the applicant and the community take part in the discussion, we're in the part now where we just act on the motion.
Okay.
And only this body takes part in that. Is there any, okay,
I'm just listening to you.
is that right? Okay. Is there any other discussion on the motion to deny the application? That means that the recommendation to the city council will be to deny it. It'll be up to the city council to take final action on the application.
That's for the proposed use.
For the proposed use, right. Okay. Is there no other discussion? And the chair, I'll call for the vote. Those who are in favor of denying the application or sending that recommendation to the city council, say aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed to denying it, say no. Then the recommendation to the city council will be that the application will be denied and that you will be notified. Does anybody not understand that it's being denied for a mixed use application? That's what the application is for. Okay, then you'll hear from them, from the building department about hearing at the city council. With that being the last item, there's no other business before this body. This meeting is adjourned.